G'day guys, and welcome to today's video where I'll be giving my own thoughts and opinion on the San Hima 270-degree awning that Vic Off-Road have provided me for reviewing. This review comes from my experience with the product, and I'm not paid in any way to review this awning. With the Landcruiser almost long-term touring ready, it was time to take it out on a trip, which quickly turned into a very wet and miserable weekend, but it provided a great opportunity to test out the new awning. So let's dive into my experience so far with the San Hima 270-degree awning from Vic Off-Road. The first thing I noticed about this awning is how quick it is to set up. It takes less than 60 seconds, with the setup being pretty self-explanatory and straightforward. Simply undo a few Velcro straps and fold it out. Just like that, you have a huge amount of undercover space, which was greatly appreciated on today's cold and rainy day. Once open, the awning is secured on both sides with a strap, utilizing a buckle on one end to clip onto the awning and a loop on the other end to hook onto a place on your vehicle. The Packup is a bit of a hassle in the wet, with the Velcro straps being fiddly. Trying to get the strap through the buckle and back up the strap while holding everything in place is a bit of a juggling act, and when doing this at the height of my canopy, my arms got tired pretty quickly. The bag is also quite small, which is good for a compact look compared to some of the other awnings on the market, but it does require a bit more pushing and stuffing of the awning into the bag. With my experience of the setup and the Packup out of the way, let's talk about some of the other features of the awning. As you can see, I've opted for the awning that also stretches out to the front of the vehicle. This particular awning is a popular choice for four-wheel drive enthusiasts due to the coverage for the money, as it comes in at $900 or $810 if you subscribe to Vic Off-Road's website. At the time of making this video, a lot of people have seen the value for money here, which has caused Vic Off-Road to be sold out of this particular awning. If you'd like to purchase this awning, please use a link in the description, but make sure you first subscribe and stay to the end where I walk around the awning and give my final thoughts. Another feature which I think is great is the built-in LED strip. It's very functional and easily plugs into a USB port. For my rooftop tent, I use a similar sort of setup using a power bank to power the same light, but for this awning, I ended up just using my larger power supply on my canopy. It draws very little power as well, only 2 watts, and the cable is long enough to reach well into my canopy. Now, with the specs and features out of the way, let's go ahead and walk around the awning in a little bit more detail before I give you my final thoughts on this 270-degree awning. So after everything got wet on the camping trip, as you would have seen, I brought everything back and I've had a good chance to have a good think about a lot of the things on the awning. And one of the things that I really like are these poles. So I've set out the poles on 1, 2, 3, 4 of the corners. So the corner over there and the corner over there, I didn't put poles down on, mostly because it's pretty close to things like lights and also the passenger side glass, and the paint. So I don't want to scratch all that up if a big wind comes. Now, it's not very windy where I live, so I don't have anything tied down at the moment. So just a couple of things to keep an eye on is, one of the things that I noticed is it didn't drain very well. So you can see that, we've got a big kind of little spot here where water can gather. So one of the things that I recommend is, as you're setting up your post, just make sure that it's high enough on one side so it can kind of slope. So obviously not having a post here is a bit of an issue, because it's not going to kind of push that side up. So what I recommend you do is try to pick a side for it to slope down. So that's one of my first recommendations. But having a look at this, getting the poles down is really easy. All you have to do is just pull it straight down from here. It's not even latched in or anything, it just fits in there. And you just pull it down and you just twist it, and it's very simple. In fact, I could probably do it with one hand. You just twist it, and it just like that, you push it down, push it down, push it down, push it down, and then twist it again. And you can do all that with one hand, and it's pretty solid as well, guys. So pretty impressed with how those poles extend and how they store away. And you can see as well, guys, that it's a lot of room. It's something that I didn't cover when I was kind of setting it out for the first time at camp, but man, there is so much room here. So I'm going to start from one of the corners here, and I'm going to take, so here I am here right on the corner. So I'm going to take as many steps as I can to get to my 79. So that's 1, 2 and a half. So that's about 2.5 meters from my 79. And again, I'll do the same thing. 1, 2. So you're looking at about 2 meters on each of the corners of shade, and that is quite a lot, which is why I really like having that that shade going around to the back there. So this awning for me has been a huge win. So one of the things just to keep an eye on as well, guys, and you have to keep an eye on it for all awnings, is this knuckle here. So you can see it's got lots of pop rivets here, but most of it is held in with bolts, which is a good thing. Bolts here, and also bolts up here too, which is a great win, because it means that you can replace them Pop riveting is a lot harder to replace things on the go. So keep in mind that I saw no flex here because that's all steel, but I did see a little bit of flex here. So I put this away wet. So it's about as heavy as this thing's gonna get, and it was flexing down. So all of this bracket, although this was all solid, it was flexing here at the aluminium down. So that was a little bit worrying to me. So as soon as I could, I got the supports out to try to take a little bit of the weight off that aluminium from twisting and warping. So keep an eye on that, this side especially, because it's got most of the arms. So yeah, just keep a close eye on that one, guys. Now, one of the things that I really like is the fact that this light can slide wherever you need it. So that's kind of cool, but you know, maybe having a full length light might have been a little bit better. So I'm not quite sure why we have one sliding light, and we've got room here for a second light too. So maybe in the future, you know, San Hima, if you're watching this, maybe chuck in 2 full length lights. That actually would be awesome. But I mean, this light is very, very bright as it is. As I was doing the demonstration, you could even see it during the day. Now, I feel quite confident with leaving this as a freestanding awning if it was dry, and also if there wasn't a huge amount of wind around. I just like, you know, kind of attached it on some weird places, like on the bottom of my rooftop tent and things like that. And listen, if it wasn't windy and it wasn't rainy, I probably even wouldn't use those poles, but because it's wet and I've got a little bit of wind around at the moment, I'm just trying to be a little bit careful and not trying to put too much weight on that knuckle. Not so much the knuckle, but also where the knuckle mounts on that aluminium. So I've been really impressed with the San Hima product so far. I mean, each has, like every product, each has its pros and cons, but for the money, this awning is absolutely terrific. I mean, I can't fault this. So, I mean, for the price as well, if you compare it to a lot of the other brands around the same price, I think you guys will be really happy with this one. So I am going to do a long-term review. Of course, I've only had this on the car for a couple of nights of camping, and I've only set it out a few times, but I mean, so far, guys, I've been so impressed. So if this is something that you want to purchase, I will leave a link to it in the description. And Vic Off-Road, who supply this product, they have discount sales on all the time. So make sure you keep an eye out for that one, guys. But geez, man, I mean, it's so awesome having all this extra shade. And even at this time of the day where it's really like the sunlight's coming in on the most extreme angle we can get, there's still all this shade over here that I can use. So, you know, at any point in the day, I do have some shade that I can use. And that's the advantage of having all of this extra shade over here. And it just covers so much of the car and the ground around it. And I mean, look at that and tell me that's not an impressive setup. I think that is absolutely awesome. So guys, I'm going to leave it there. Thank you so much for joining me today, and I hope you got a little bit of information about this, you know, 270-degree awning that maybe you haven't heard of before, and some of the awesome features on it for the price. Been super impressed. Thank you for joining me, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Take care.